The domestic transfer window is due to open on June the 14th, and the question is, will Newcastle United sign anyone in the first 2 weeks of the transfer window when we can buy players from other clubs in this country? Well, it's looking like James Maddison really is on the radar for Newcastle United. Eddie Howe has even made a comment about him, and the speculation has obviously been speculated and linked with us since January, but obviously Leicester wanted to hold on to him during their relegation running. Now that they're relegated, there might just be a deal to be had with the England international James Maddison. Reports over the last few days have been growing, and it does really sound like it's going to be a straight fight between us and Spurs for his signature. And the question is, which one he'll pick, which one he sees as the better step in his career. Now, obviously, I'm slightly biased because I'm a Newcastle supporter, but I do genuinely think Newcastle United is the most exciting project in the country right now. He's outgrown Leicester, obviously they've now got relegated, but it felt like he'd leave Leicester anyway, even if they survived this summer. I do think us being an exciting project might just play into our hands a little bit, and as I say, the reports over the last few days have been more that he's edging towards us rather than Spurs. So what would we get from Maddison if we were to buy him? Well, he was Leicester City's 2021-22 player of the season, when they were still decent, and he's also lifted the FA Cup with the Foxes too. He's a full England international. He's had European experience as well. He's played in the Europa League with Leicester, so that's something that we don't have a lot of in our squad. We've not had loads of players who've played European football. That will obviously change this season, but you know, bringing players in who have some experience in European competition is going to be helpful. He does have some injury concerns. He's not had loads of injuries in his career, but he did miss a bit of last season due to a knee injury, but he still managed to play 30 Premier League games, so I don't think there's anything major to worry about in terms of injuries with him. In terms of position, he's an attacking midfielder, and he likes to play in the centre or either in the right side of midfield. So you can see that he would fit into our team really well. He'd give competition for players like Bruno, Willock, you know, and we're going to need that strength in depth this season with the Champions League and basically fighting for 4 competitions that we're going to be playing in next season. So it's not a case of replacing any of those players. It's a case of rotating and getting lots of games, but just, you know, in a different way, resting players, sometimes playing other players. Maddison's the kind of player who could step in, be good enough to step in. He's also a smart player. You know, he plays on the front foot. He's comfortable in possession on the ball, and he's also a free kick specialist. So that might actually give us a bit of competition with Trippier, because I think we got a little bit predictable with our set pieces last season, and it would be good to mix it up a bit with other players. So Maddison gives us that option, and I think that would be a really good thing for the club. His scoring record is surprisingly excellent if you look at it. He scores a goal about once every 4 games, which in the Premier League level for a midfielder is really, really good. He's had 203 appearances for Leicester and scored 55 goals, so that's not to be sniffed at, especially when you consider he's also had, in those 203 games, 41 assists for Leicester as well. That is pretty impressive, and is exactly the sort of player, the level of player we want to be bringing in. So, listen, in short, he's going to bring experience, he'll bring goals, he'll bring assists. He's got adaptability in position, which is key, because Eddie Howe will want players to be able to play more than one position, and he's also a bit of a free kick specialist. So you're getting a good deal there. The rumoured price is, 50 million quid, something like that. In my mind, for a 26-year-old who's kind of coming into the prime of his career in the next 2, 3, 4 years, it is a deal worth making, I think. I think he's a really good player. I know people have got issues about the way he maybe played towards the end of his time at Leicester last season, but it's not necessarily the easiest thing to be playing in a relegation team. I know you could argue about players not stepping up and that kind of stuff, but I just don't see that as an issue. I think he's ready for a new challenge. I think if he came to Newcastle, would be getting a very good player who'd be hungry to make a good impression and kind of re-spark his career in a sense, because he's had, obviously, over the Leicester in the last year or two have struggled a bit more. What do you think? Would you be really pleased to see James Maddison, or would you be happy for Tottenham to sign him instead and us go after different targets? I'd love to know what you think. Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you really soon for another video.